Hello, good morning, everybody. This is Janpha Thadphoothon, and this morning, I'm here in my garden. So, what I would like to talk about is the importance of citation and referencing, and a particular topic that I'm addressing this morning is quoting techniques. This is very important when you do basic academic writing. Okay, and we have to do this kind of what we call convention. In the past, like thousands or hundreds of years ago, copying and borrowing, uh, you know like citing works is something that you do it all the time. But later on, uh, it become a problem because especially in the Western uh, culture, copying and pasting is something illegal, is something wrong. It's wrong to do that kind of thing. So we need to remember that ideas and words can be owned. Is what we call they are the your intellectual property. So they need to be properly cited and quoted. If you don't do that, you are actually committing an act of plagiarism. In other words, you are stealing someone else's ideas or language. Actually, it's more or less the same thing because uh, ideas are expressed or represented through the use of language anyway. So let's look at the three dialect quotations techniques. The first is what we call blending quotation. This is when you actually integrate your citation into your own writing, incorporate that into your own writing. The second is called using dialect or signal quotations, and the third is setting off a block quotation, especially if you are citing a text longer than three sentences. Okay, let's look at each of the techniques in details. The first is when you do a bit of branding quotation, you brand it in your own sentences or text. An example is this: climate change is a reality and it is happening now. According to Suzuki 2005, climate change is one of the greatest challenges humanity is facing. It really is time we do something about it. As you can see here, what I'm doing is, quoting David Suzuki, published his work in the year 2005, but I only use his family name. So according to Suzuki, in brackets 2005, climate change is so and so. So what I'm doing is blending or integrating the ideas into my own writing. This is very common, and you need to have what we call paraphrasing skills. In other words, you need to paraphrase it. Even though you paraphrase it using your own language, you need to cite the source. Okay, this is very important. The second technique is what we call signal quotations. You can introduce the quotation by saying something uh, before you do the direct quotation. For example, as Fisher and Adams in 1994, case 106, explain, open quotation. People who drink 3 cups of coffee a day are more active than people who drink no coffee. End of quote. So you are actually taking the chunk of the language or a set of ideas from Fisher and Adams published in 1994, and you can actually go back to his work on page number. This is the work that I'm talking about why we should drink coffee. It's important to remember that when you quote, you need to actually cite the line number, line number 106 here. If you are citing it, the, verbatim, word by word. So the exact words from the text, you should put that in the inside the quotation mark. So this is what we call signal quotation. And the third, and here are some of the phrases to signal citation or quotation. Yeah, you can say Fisher and Adam 2004 suggest that, and then drinking tea and drinking coffee are the same thing, and of course, something like that. To indicate something, indicate that, to imply that, argue for or argue that, or argue against, to show, uh, to demonstrate, to support, to note, to say, to write, to propose, to inform, explain, and use the commonly used, phrasal expression according to so and so. So these are the signals, phrases that may be useful for you. And these are some examples. Jacobs 2000 argues that women shop in order to reduce stress. Research conducted by K 2007 shows that 3% of Thai teenagers have had sex before marriage. Research suggests that drinking too much alcohol is bad for your brain or your health, according to Minsky 2005. So these are some examples. And the third technique is what we call the block quotation. This is where you are citing or quoting text longer than about three sentences. If it's really long, you actually set it off another paragraph or another block. We call this using a block quote. This is what it looks like. This is an example. For example, Fisher and Adam emphasize that drinking coffee is good for health. They have suggested that, and then you set another block and quote. Drinking 3 cups of coffee a day can help improve your health. Those who drink no coffee that feel sleepy during the day, it's better to drink good coffee. Fisher and Adam, 1994, page 98. So actually, you are actually taking the whole chunk of the ideas of the language, and then you integrate that into your writing. You have to set up a block like this. This is what we call a block quotation. And don't forget a bibliography or a list of references at the end of your writing. You need to do this as well. This is an example regarding how to write a bibliography, how to write a list of references is subject to another video. But for now, what I would like to address is that when you take ideas or the language from other people's, what you need to do is not cutting and pasting without acknowledging their contribution. What you should do is you have to quote, you have to incorporate their ideas into your own, or you can make a critique of their ideas. Nonetheless, quoting and citing is very important in academic writing. It's a good practice. So if you have any question, don't forget to leave your question or contact me, janpadpu at gmail.com. Thank you for watching.